Hello everyone, this is an electric car and it packs 646 horsepower and it arrives very quietly, but when it unleashes those 646 horsepower, your world will be turned upside down. Welcome to the Audi RS e-tron GT, and you may want to continue till the end of this video because this is not your average electric car, or in fact not your any average car, because this is a fantastic electric car. Before we move forward, please continue subscribing to my channel by clicking that subscription button and pressing that bell icon and leave all the notifications on, so that ways you will never miss any of these videos from my channel. I am super excited. Let's get this review started. Well, most electric cars would make it pretty obvious that they are electric cars when you look at them, because there is something that gives away about it. But when you look at this car, it's not going to make people believe that this is an electric car, because it looks very much like a normal road going car. In fact, much better than a normal road going car. But let's start from the front. So you get this black color panel out here instead of the radiator grille. It's just this black glossy plastic and the diamond design out here, and this Audi rings, and also there is like a slot out here, but it's a covered one, not the open one, because it has to be all aerodynamic, so can't have all the openings and everything because it's all consuming and just not making it very aerodynamically efficient. So at the bottom there is these two cameras which are for your radar systems and the 360-degree camera system, and it also comes with the Audi Presense, so it's all related to that. There are also vents on both the sides. These are the actual vents, so air channels in from there, and there are actually two radiators as well, because even the batteries and the motors also need cooling, so it's for that reason. There are fins out here, again more openings out here, and you see the design, and it's all cleverly made that way. There are also slots out here that channel air and push it out from the sides, again to give it as much as downforce in the front as possible. There is also a front splitter out here, and look at the bonnet design. It's like a scoop out here with this gentle bit of lip here and a couple of lines on either side. And when you come to these headlights, these are the laser headlights, LED headlights from Audi, and they do all sort of clever stuff, like they are dynamically adjustable. They have the cornering lights and everything. There are also DRLs on top. Not just that, they will do their own bit of dance in the usual Audi fashion, like when you start the car, when you switch off the car, it would do all of that. And these DRLs also convert into turn signals. But the laser lights themselves at night, special mention, they look absolutely crisp and clear. It just brightens your way in the front. So this is an RS version of an Audi, so it's but obvious that it is slightly decked up with optional extras, but essentially you would want to have these for sure. So whenever I come across, I'll be mentioning that. The first one is this rim. These are like 21-inch rims in this 5-spoke design, which is an optional extra from the RS package. And look at them, like the design on them is so good. And not just that, if you just poke your eyes inside, there's a big disc like the size of, I think, my car's tire. There is also this red brake caliper, again with the Audi RS badging on it, and these disc brakes are also covered with the tungsten carbide coating, and these are the steel brakes, so they give you all the braking capabilities as much as possible, because it's 646 horsepower and you need to tame all of them. Out here there is also a vent, and then there's also another slot that allows that air to go out so that it channels on the sides. Again, this front portion is slightly similar to the Porsche Taycan, so if you notice like that front half out here, you would start to see some of those similarities there. At the bottom there is black color spoiler. These side mirrors are body colored. They are also power foldable, they are power adjustable, they have the blind spot warning on the side. There's also an LED light out here. When you come to these doors, all 4 doors are smart keyless entry doors, so all you have to do is just walk towards the car and it will automatically unlock itself. And when you open these doors, you would notice these are frameless doors, and not just that, they are double glazed, so it gives you super quiet cabin experience and removes pretty much all the sounds from outside. There's also an e-tron GT logo that illuminates the ground. There's also the RS badging on the door sills, which standard one is just the white. Then you come to the back, there is this nice bit of arch out here, really thick one, and it looks pretty elegant because it's nicely merged in the back. The coupe style design out here. Again, in the back, 21-inch rims, but this time the tires in the back are 305 by 30 by 21, so it's just humongous. And then you have these tail lights that flush into the side body, and on the top there is a complete panoramic sunroof, which is why it's a black one that you get on top. And there's also this black surround around these windows. You also get the air suspensions on this Audi RS e-tron GT, and there is a option of just the spring setup, but I would highly suggest you go for these air suspensions because boy, they are incredible. The ride on this is super comfortable, and they keep adjusting according to the different driving modes. When it's in eco, it will just lower itself down and try to give you as much as aerodynamic efficiency as possible. When it is in the dynamic, it constantly adjusts, and not just that, when it goes over a bump, it's like gliding through it. And when you come to the charging, you get a type 2 charger. Now if you're not familiar with the charging system, I did a detailed video about that as well, explaining when I did the review of another electric car, so you can click on the pop-up banner out here and you can watch that video, but I've explained everything about the charging and the plugs. So this comes with the type 2 charging system, and there's like a door that opens from here. Yeah, so this is the AC type of charger that you can connect out here, and then there is this release button, so when you press that, you can then get the cables out, so once you're done charging. But not just that, you get charging ports on both the sides, so it's not just here, but it's also on the other side. But the thing about the other side port is it's also a DC charger, which is called the CCS. So that charger, you can plug it in and you will get faster timings in terms of the charging rate. So what it is like in terms of the charging, so this e-tron GT comes with 93 kilowatt battery pack. So if you have a 7 kilowatt charger, you will have to charge this car between 13 to 14 hours to make it full charge. When you go 22, it's going to be around 5 to 6 hours. When you go 50 kilowatt, which I had a chance to do it yesterday, it's around 1.5 hours. And then when you come to, let's say, 100 kilowatt or 150 kilowatt, then it will be around 45 minutes. And if you have 250, which is 250 kilowatts like a supercharger, which is still not available here for these cars, but when you do have them, it's going to take just around 20 minutes. That's about it. So the rear end is something which I really dig because it looks absolutely gorgeous, because you have these thick arches on both the sides, and then you have this lean sort of style in the back, and not a very long tail as well. It's a pretty short one that way. But let's continue first with these tail lights. So these are LED tail lights, and also there is this single bar out here, so it makes it like a continuous tail light bar in the back. And not just that, again in the back also, it's actually a much more fancier rear tail light that keeps doing all the animations in the back. So when you open or close it, make sure to check that out because it looks really good. And these tail lights, as I mentioned, are LED. They also have this sort of design where it just goes in and then comes out, along with this black color border at the bottom of it. There is also this Audi rings in the black color. There is also this moving spoiler, but when you put the car in the dynamic mode, it's when it's going to be doing a little bit of adjustments while you're braking, so it's giving you the air brakes and everything. And in terms of the visibility, it's actually pretty minimal. It's pretty much like a supercar, where it's just like a letterbox that way. But it's all right because you're going to be going so fast, you're not going to be noticing anyone in the back, but just don't get any radar finds. That's the only thing. There's also this RS badging out here and the e-tron GT badging out here, all in black. And at the bottom you would notice this sort of diffuser kind of underplate that has been given, but it's not really a diffuser, but it's just for the design purpose, and it's black color glossy one. And when it comes to the boot space on this RS version of the e-tron GT, you can put 350 liters of luggage, and the standard e-tron GT comes in with 405 liters of boot space that you can utilize. So on this one it's 350 because it's the motors and the battery pack, which is why it reduces the overall boot space, and it's a lot more horizontal boot space instead of a little deeper one. Again, that is because there's the motor and the electronics and the battery pack that is all given in the back and also underneath the floor as well. So all the battery pack is all lined up under the floor, so which is why it makes the overall boot space a little more restricted, but nonetheless it's a pretty good one. There is also at the bottom there is a small sort of storage where you can put your cables and stuff, and this is the cable that I was talking about. This is a type 2 charger, and there is also something in the front, and I'm going to come to that as well. So these rear seats are also foldable in a ratio of 60:40, but in order to do that you have to do it from here. So once I do that, let me just do for one seat. You can put like longer objects in the back, that is pretty much about it. Not just that, the floor itself is pretty flat, so you can pretty much utilize that entire length of that boot space. Now because this is an electric car, it's obviously not got an engine in the front, so that space can be utilized. So it's also got the space in the front, which is why it's called the fruit or the frunk. But in order to open that front fruit, the button for that is actually mounted on the side of the door. So it took me a little while to figure out where this button was, because usually it's like a latch that with which you can just open that bonnet, but when you press that, it opens up and gives you access to that front fruit. Now there is also this backpack which is given, which gives you the charging system for your home. So if you ever want to charge your car using the normal plugs which are given in your buildings or in your apartments or wherever, you can just put this in. So this is a 16 amperes 400 volt charging system that you get with this one. There is every single thing which is given inside, like a huge pack. I'm not gonna bother right now opening that up, but yeah, that also sits out here in the fruit. But if not that, you can just place two soft bags inside, or otherwise tried fitting myself in, but I can't. I just half of way, still I am outside, but that's just to show you, by the way, don't do that. There is also the lights in the front, but it's essentially like a small storage that you can utilize. And the thing about this bonnet is that it is super light, like it's literally with one finger you can just close it, and because it's so light, it wouldn't shut itself completely if you like leave it like that. So you have to give it a little bit of a tap. Now on the inside of the Audi RS e-tron GT, things are pretty familiar that way, but the design is quite different compared to the other Audis. So let me come to that, but it's a very good cockpit experience that you will get. So everything is just aligned towards the driver, like the screens and the buttons and everything is all facing ever so slightly towards the driver, and the quality of material, the fit and finish is really good. So let me start off with the material quality. Out here you get soft touch on the dashboard, and this dashboard also has this sort of lip so that whenever you put any objects it wouldn't fall down, so you can at least utilize this dashboard as well. This covering on the driver's display, which is an Alcantara on top with the red stitching. Out here on the sides, leather covered door cards, and really nice flowing design that you get. So it goes in there, the air conditioning vents and everything, and then it sort of curves around in front of you. At the bottom there is normal plastic where you're going to be resting hands. It's leather covered, red color stitched, and there are also these carbon fiber twills which are given in the middle. Again, they are also like curving in the dashboard. Out here, even on the dashboard. There is a lot of carbon, and then there is this e-tron badging out here, which is also illuminated. There are also mood lights which are given in the door cards, in the footwell, out here on the sides. You can change those mood lights from the infotainment screen. So when you go in, you can go and change the different mood lights which are given. There's also Alcantara out here on the sides, leather covered. Again on the sides there are going to be resting hands, again leather covered. When you come to the driver's display, you get 12.3 inch very crisp display that you get, and it's the very similar Audi display systems that you will find on the other cars. So it's not going to be a difficult task understanding the driver's display or the infotainment screen. So this display has like two conventional dials on both the sides, so you can see your information on the left side about your charge, how much you're using. Instead of the RPM, you will see the percentage of charge you're using, and on the right side there is also a digital speedometer, and in the center there is information in which you can see your date and time, and then when you scroll down you can see the range of the car, the consumption in real time, and then short-term memory, and then the long-term memory, and then the driver assistance. And then when you swipe to the right, you will see your media option, your phone options, then the navigation, and then you come back to the same screen which will show you the date and everything. There is also a view button, so when you press that, it reduces the size of the dials on both the sides and gives you a big information in the center. But that information system, again, you can change all of it, but my favorite view is when you go to the media, you go from phone and then you go to the navigation. It shows you full navigation in the backdrop with the two dials, smaller ones, right out there in the bottom. Because the screen is so crisp and clear, it makes the interaction very easier when you are driving. Now these dials also can be changed. So this is the Audi virtual cockpit. So all you have to do is you have to go into the settings, and when you go there you will find the display and the brightness options, and then you go into the Audi virtual cockpit. So you can then change the dials from your classic to the sport ones, and then you have the e-tron sport version where it reduces all that and then just gives you plain information about your speed in the center, and that is about it, and also the charging bit and all of that. When you come to the steering wheel, this is a leather covered perforated steering wheel with the red stitching, and it's also the flat bottom steering wheel, and this one is electronically adjustable. So usually there is like the button that releases the steering wheel. So instead of that, they made that into an electrical tilt and telescopic options that you can do with this steering wheel. There are also paddle shifters which are given out here, smaller ones to my liking, but these paddle shifters don't change any gear or anything, but these are for your electrical charging system. So it's for the regenerative energy system that is given on this one, so you can adjust that. So when you go minus, you press 3 times and it goes to 3 levels, and then when you release your accelerator pedal, the car would automatically regenerate the energy or just store back that energy into the battery systems. And when you put it in the plus and then you make it 0, then it wouldn't utilize any. So it's more like a single pedal experience, driving experience. If you've been familiar with the electric cars, you would know that it regenerates, and it also regenerates while braking, and all of that can be seen on your driver's display on the left side gauge, where it will show you when it is charging or when it is discharging. So all of that information is right there in front of your face. Now when we continue with the steering wheel, on the right side you would find the controls for your infotainment and the media controls and the communication controls, and for some reason there is also a steering heating option as well. And on the left side you would find the buttons for your driver's display and everything, and also the view button and all the buttons to change it. There is also an RS badging at the bottom and the Audi badging in the center, and there is also the adaptive cruise control and speed limiter stick, which is given on the left side behind the steering wheel at the bottom side, so that you can adjust all of it. It's pretty clear to see when you are driving, so it's not going to be covered with any steering wheel or anything, unlike some other car which was the Peugeot 508. So you can click on the pop-up banner out here and you can watch the detailed review video of that car, where it was a little tricky to find that button. When you come to the air conditioning controls, straightforward button operated system has been given, which is pretty good these days, since everyone is just moving to touch screens. At least on this one, it's just button operated, so straightforward on and off button has been given. So when you switch it on, you can adjust the fan speed, and then in the center there is eco, on, off, and max speed. So the thing is, the battery charge gets affected because of the different things. So one is, if you're in the driving mode, if you're in different driving modes, it would affect by 10-15 kilometers, that plus the air conditioning. So if you switch it off, it gives you 15 kilometers of additional range, but if you keep it on the eco AC mode, then it consumes 5 kilometers. If you put it on max, you're going to be utilizing 20 more kilometers from your battery pack. So it removes that. It shows you all on your screen all the time. So that you can adjust from here, and on both the sides you can adjust the temperature of the air conditioning control. So you get a dual zone air conditioning control on this e-tron GT, and on either sides of the air conditioning switches you will also find the buttons for your heated and the cooled seats. So this RS e-tron GT comes with both heated and the cooled seat options, and there are also two vents which are given at the bottom of it instead of somewhere which are usually out here, but it's given out here. Now when you come to this infotainment screen, this is a 10.1 inch, very crisp and clear. Again, just like the driver's display, this is the same screen, and the setup on the whole operating system on it is quite simplified. Again, pretty much Audi. If you're familiar with that, this is not going to be anything different. So straightforward on your screens, you have options which are color coded, and it's pretty snappy as well. So the main screen itself has your widgets, so for your media, telephone, search. So when you long press them, you can even change them as well, and then when you go into the main screen, you have the radio and then the media option. So in that you will find all your connectivity options. So in terms of the connectivity, you can connect to this infotainment system using the Bluetooth, USB, Android Auto, and Apple CarPlay, and both are wirelessly connectable. So that's again a great thing when you're on the move. In terms of the music system, you get 16 speaker Bang & Olufsen sound system, and it sounds incredible, especially with this build quality. In fact, have a listen to that. And once we continue, we come back to the main home screen. Then you have the telephone option, and then the inbuilt navigation system, which is pretty decent, I would say. It's pretty snappy because the operating system is pretty light, so it's not going to be lagging that much, or in fact nothing that ways. And then you can easily search things on this navigation screen. You come out, you have the phone apps, but anyways, you're going to be using the Google Maps when you're connected to the Android Auto or the Apple CarPlay, so that's going to make it even more easier. So the phone apps are basically your Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. You can control that from here, and then you can have the detailed car options, in which you have the Audi Drive Select, so you can select the different driving modes. I'm going to come to that because you get 4 different driving modes on this one. Then there is the car details, which will show you the range potential and everything. So when you switch off, all of that information can be seen out here, how much it can improve your range. And then there is the charging and the efficiency. So you go in the charging, you will find all your battery levels and everything, and then the efficiency assist, which is this. So if you leave it on automatic, the car will automatically figure out on its own, or if you leave it in manual, then you adjust the amount of regenerative braking action that you want. And the next option is your seats. So these seats also can be adjusted, because I think because the buttons were not enough to be put on the seats, which is why there are on-screen controls. So you can adjust these side supports and even the supports at the bottom, so you can inflate or deflate them for both driver and the passenger side seat from here. Then there is the AC controls, and then the lights and the vision, so you can change the exterior lights, the background lighting, as I had shown you. All of that can be changed from here. The parking aid, the driver assist, you can see all your safety systems out here. Your maximum, individual, basic, can customize all of that. Then the settings and the service, and then when you come back to your main screen and swipe, and then you have the settings options, in which you will find your general options, where you can adjust all your date, time, speech, language, all of that. Then the display and the brightness, your heads up display as well. So this e-tron GT also comes with the heads up display. It's pretty bright and crisp during the day. Shows you information like your digital speed, your media information, and also the speed limiter or the cruise control, or if you have the adaptive cruise control on, then the distance and everything. And then the entertainment, you can change all the entertainment settings from here. Then the navigation, telephone, contacts, messages, notifications, announcements, and sound, and all of that settings can be changed from here. There are also shortcut buttons on the side for your home, your radio, your media, the telephone, and also the navigation system, all given out here on the side, so you can easily access that while on the move. And it's also on the driver side, so it's just easier to operate. Now when you come to the charging, you get two USB ports type C which are given in this center handrest, and also one 12-volt power socket which has been given. And for the rear passengers, instead of where the air conditioning vents are underneath that tunnel, the two ports which are type C ones are given underneath the center seat. Yeah, that's took me a little while to figure out again where those ports were. I thought there weren't anything, but they are right out here in the back. So if you're searching, it's right there. And that is pretty much it in terms of the charging and the connectivity. And there is also this dial which has been given. It's not actually a dial but a trackpad which has been given, so that this one is used to control the infotainment screen. So you can swipe around to increase the volume or decrease it, then you can press the buttons, and then you can keep it mute or switch off the infotainment screen. Now out here you would find the shifting switch which has been given, which is drive by wire. So that is pretty convenient that way. It's got slots in here, so you can slide your fingers in when you are driving it around, and it's quite easy and chunky as well, so you can fit it and drive it, and all you have to do is just slide it around. And there's also a parking button, and it's quite nice and big. And there's also a start stop button. And one more cool feature about this e-tron GT is that the moment you enter into the car, you don't have to press that start stop button. It has been given, but it would automatically start the car for you. So you just sit in, put on your seatbelt, and put the car in the drive, and you can just start driving off immediately. And then when you leave the car, you automatically switch it off as well. So that is pretty cool. And there are also buttons given out here at the bottom of the air conditioning controls for your drive select. So this e-tron GT RS comes with 4 different driving modes, which are your efficiency, if you want to be driving in that, which is going to be most of the times, and the comfort mode, again, that is also going to be most of the times. Then there is the dynamic mode, when you want to own this car for a little while. I'm going to come to that. And there is also the individual mode, which can be customized, where you can do customizations to your drive system, suspensions, and the sound profile. It's the sound profile which is the artificial sound that it plays inside the car, but it's not that much, because I still find the electric chiming noise that usually comes in here. And you can even raise the height of the suspensions or reduce it from here itself. So there is a button given on the right side for that in every mode that you are in. There's also the traction control button, and there is also the 360-degree camera button, so you can call that whenever you want to. So when you are adjusting, or when you are reversing, or when you want to see around in your parking, whatever it is, you can see that as well. Now on this e-tron GT, you get a panoramic sunroof, which is also darkened out that way, but there is no cover for it, so it remains all the time open like this. Now on a summer day, I just don't know how much heat it penetrates through and then makes things a little hotter in here, but on, let's say, at night or even in the evening or during the morning, it makes the cockpit feel very airy, even during the day actually. But it's just that, yeah, I don't know how much it is efficient enough to not let the heat pass into the cabin. Now there is also an SOS button which has been given out here for any emergency purposes, which is kind of now become a necessity and also like a rule out here in the UAE, where the manufacturers have to give you this SOS button. Now in terms of the storage, it's actually a little restricted in terms of that, so you can put about half a liter worth of bottle in the door cards, and that's about it in terms of the storage in the door cards. There's also this one slot in which you can put your phones, wallets, and the key. There are also two flexible cup holders which are given out here, and there is this small storage in which again you can put your phone and wallet. That's about it. There is also this glove box which is lined with this really nice velvet lining. It's decently sized that way, so you can put that as well. And there is also this card which I forgot to mention about charging. So it's the Diva charging. So this card you can utilize whenever you are one of the Diva chargers that you will see, and it's like a membership or a subscription. For now it's free till the end of 2022. So you tap this card and you can just start charging this car at those destinations. So that has been given with this car as well. You have to get yours because it's a media card, which is why you get these with the car itself. And in the rear, in terms of the storage, it's actually really minimum. In the door cards you can't put bottles or anything. You can hardly squeeze half a liter worth of bottle. And in the center there is just the two cup holders which you get on this e-tron GT. Now when you come to the seats, because this is an RS version, you get the sporty seats in the black color leather with the red stitching and this design in the backrest and also at the bottom. And there is nice bit of side support, and also in the backrest there is decent amount of support, and that you can adjust from the infotainment screen by adjusting and getting the right specifications for you when you're sat in them. But these seats during the longer journeys are super comfortable, even though they are the sport seats, but they make your life quite easier inside this one. And because these are the perforated ones, so they are the cooled and the heated, so during the summers it's going to make your life quite easier. There's also the RS badging out here and the headrest which is given, and it's nearly like the backrest is full one piece that way, so you can adjust the headrest that way. And there's ample of headroom as well out here. And the driver and the passenger side seat both are 14-way electronically adjustable, which includes 4-way lumbar control. The lumbar support is also pretty decent in the back. There's also an extension which is available, like an extension for your thighs at the bottom, and the button for that is given again on the seat itself. So when you extend it, you can have that extra bit of support underneath your thigh during the longer journeys. Trust me, it is super helpful. And also when it comes to the sun visors, they are not extendable that ways, and they are pretty thin one that ways, but I'm sure, yeah, if they give you a big one, then it's pretty much going to cover your entire windscreen, which is a little narrow. So out here in the back, things are slightly congested, so you sit actually quite low down, even though the bottom of the floor actually consumes the batteries, but it still is slightly raised up because of that. And also these seats are quite low down that way, so you see what the angle my legs are making. I'm actually quite sitting low, but you can slide your legs a little bit in underneath the seat, so you get that extra bit of stretching ability during the longer journeys. The seats also are curved, so you get that extra bit of knee room that way. The knee room is pretty good. The headroom, there is this panoramic sunroof which gives you that extra bit of head space, but because the roof line is sloping, there are chances you might hit this curve in the back when you're entering or getting out of the car, so make sure to be aware of that. In the back again you get proper 2 seats, but this is still a 5-seater that way. So you get the black color leather seats with the red color stitching and this design, but they are perforated seats. They don't do any heater or the cooling functions. It's just for the design purpose to maintain that continuity in the back as well. In the center it's all plain. There is also a little bit of tunnel out here, so when I sit in the middle, yeah, it's slightly raised up as well, and even the backrest is a little thicker that way, so it's going to be not easier for the middle passenger to sit for a longer journey, but shorter journeys it's going to be all right. But the 2 seats on either sides are just about going to be fine enough. There are also carpets which are given in the front and in the back as a part of an RS package. And one more cool feature that you get because this is an RS is these colorful seat belts, like the red color ones, which really complement this interior and the car itself. So you get both for the driver and the passenger, and even in the back for all 3 passengers, these red color seat belts. And when you come out here, there is also this handrest which is given, which has 2 flexible cup holders out here, and there is also this button with which you can open this center handrest and fold it down completely to access the boot space from the back. So that way the seats are foldable in a ratio of 40:20:40, but you can't do this from the rear or anywhere. So you have to open first, access it from here by folding this down, and then whatever you want the access, you can do that. And out here you get 2 air conditioning vents, and because as I mentioned, this was tri-zone, but you cannot adjust the fan speed, but you can only adjust the temperature from here. So you can adjust that using these buttons out here. And in the back also you get the frameless doors, and you get soft touch material out here with the red stitching and Alcantara on the side as well. And at the bottom you can't really put much apart from your phones and wallets, and that is pretty much about it. So we have reached to the best part of this review, which is the driving bit. Now this is an electric car, and not just any electric car, a super powerful electric car. So the best way to do is to do a launch control. Now this e-tron GT can do 0 to 100 in 3.3 seconds, and the best way to do is to test it. So the procedures are quite simple. You may think you will have to do a lot of things. No, there's nothing. Just do the drive select, put it in dynamic, and don't press the brakes. So there is an auto brake assist on its own. So every time you do it, even when you're driving in the traffic, you can just do it. And I'm really worried because I've done this a fair few times. When I did it for the first time, I felt dizzy, and every time it's just the same effect. So are you ready? Anyways, launching in 3, 2, 1, go. 130, 40, 50, 60, 1. Every time I promise this is my same reaction, because how does this car do this? How? Like, it's got 2 motors in the front and 1 in the back, and together it produces 646 horsepower and 830 Newton meters of torque. And unlike the petrol powered engine or your normal engines where you press the throttle, it takes a little while, on this it's always there. Yeah, it's just the moment you just touch that pedal, it just erupts into this madness. It's just an animal hiding in there, like every single time. Grip levels are phenomenal, and this motor is powering via a 2-speed gearbox. You can't change anything, but it just does, the car does all of that automatically. All you have to do is just keep driving it. That's about it. And the power delivery is just incredible. I mean, God, this chassis is so good. It's just so balanced. The moment you put this and you try to do those launch controls, in fact, I want to do this one more time because it's just such a thing to keep doing this every single time. Okay, we are ready. 3, 2, 1, go. So yeah, every single time I do it, and the thing is, you wouldn't realize, trust me, how quick this thing is, because it just eats speed up. So make sure when you're driving on the road, the best tip is to use the limiter, because you're gonna overshoot speeds every single time. Trust me on that. You will not realize. Just 20% of the pedal is enough for it to just go beyond 120, 130 in a blip. That's what this thing is, and it's just so balanced when you keep doing that. And it's got a very brilliant chassis, is what I was mentioning before. It's very well balanced. It just remains stable all the time. There is no squatting. Even when you brake, there is not much of the bouncing around or anything, or loss of traction. Every single time, at any speed, whichever speed you are at, even at high speeds, it's surprisingly so smooth, and it's so stable that you wouldn't feel that you're touching some monstrously high speeds. The top speed is capped at 250 kilometers per hour, but I'm very sure you can do a lot more if you remove that limiter. And the thing is, this car comes with a 93 kilowatt hour battery, and if you do all sort of this sort of madness, then you are gonna average anywhere between 36 to 40 kilowatt hour, which is what you usually would measure in an electric car instead of the petrol power car, which is in kilometers per liter. So on average, I am doing about 27.3 kilowatt hour per 100 kilometers. Now if I divide it by 93 kilowatt hour, then I will get a range of about 345 kilometers, which is what I am getting every single time when I drive this car. So that is pretty spot on, although the claim average is the range is between 472 to 475-ish, between that. So you can achieve if you put it on the efficiency mode, which is I'm pretty sure you're going to be using it pretty much all the time. I just wanted to show you that the dynamic mode is just amazing. Even the individual mode you can customize, but yes, it's got so much potential, and I can't even think of any car. I just cannot think anything that even comes close to this. I know this is an electric car, you don't hear anything, but trust me, you don't need that exhaust to entertain you, because this car itself is enough to keep you entertained while you are driving it. It just pushes the envelope of engineering to another level. It just does that. And let me come to the other bits, the suspensions, because those are the air suspensions, and boy, they are a charm. They are so comfortable. Even when you're in a dynamic mode, you never feel a bump. When you're in the comfortable mode, of course, they are going to be just super relaxed. It just soaks up bumps so well, and there is not one moment where I feel like this feels very tipsy. And plus, because the battery pack is right at the bottom, the CG is very low down, and because the car is so wide that way, super wide actually, so it just never feels that you are having that tipsy moment. In fact, let me do a slalom and show you what this car is, because I can do at a very high speed, and whoa, like it's like give me everything you have. I will take it, I will do it for you. Just keep throwing it at me. When it comes to the steering, you have an absolutely incredible steering system, because this has an optional all-wheel steering as well. And boy, that's another addition to this. It just adds to the capabilities of this car, because I put this into the corner and it's just trying to maintain the grip so well. I know it's kind of sliding around a little bit, but that is because the track is sandy. But otherwise, whoa, like a dart. Like it's like the car knows where I want to go, and it's just already pointing it in that direction, and it's just ready. Plus, coupled with the all-wheel drive, quattro all-wheel drive system and a rear limited slip differential, you are guaranteed that, boy, this fun is not just temporary or just for the show, but it's a real thing. Now, when I come, the noise and the vibrations, because this car has double glazed windows, everything is super quiet in here. You can't hear anything. In fact, I'm starting to like that electrical sound from the motors when it accelerates, because there's this whoo thing that happens every time it accelerates, and you should hear that. It's just I keep telling it, because every time you have to prepare yourself. You have no idea what comes in when you do that 0 to 100, or when you are doing that start from the standstill. It's just gonna take you back. It's just gonna change the concept of a car for you. What you think it is, what it can do, it's just gonna change everything. Now, when you come to the brakes, you get 4 disc brakes on this e-tron GT RS, and the performance from that is again pretty incredible, because these are steel brakes with the tungsten carbide. So let me do a 100 to 0 emergency stop. Wow, with so much of mass, it stops very well. You got the emergency stop signal as well. And then the quiet acceleration. You will not, no one would ever notice you when you are doing this at lower speeds, because yeah, you're pretty much going to be under the radar. But if you want to woo them, just press that right pedal. I'm actually terrified pressing that right pedal every time, because it just keeps doing that, and that's just the car trying to be ahead of me. So that is what is happening. Now when I come to the safety systems, you get all the safety systems. You get 6 airbags, 2 for the front driver and the passenger, 2 side airbags again for the driver and the passenger, 2 curtain airbags again for the driver and the passenger. There is also 2 more knee airbags for the driver and the passengers. That also has been given. There is also the Audi Pre-Sense. There is also lane keep assist. There is tire pressure monitoring system. There is also child ISOFIX points in both the rear seats. There is also ABS, EBD. There is also the clever electronics that make sure that you get the maximum efficiency out of this system. There is also other safety systems like your 360-degree camera system, which is fabulous. You get a 3D view and it's just crisp. It's so smooth. It's literally like watching the car in real life from outside. So you can change the angles, you can do everything, and you can get the perfect distance and everything when you want to park it. It's that precise and it's smooth, and the graphics, they are always on point. Now when you come to the pricing, the standard e-tron GT costs 552,000 dirhams approximately, while this one, which is a RS e-tron GT, which is a completely topped up with optional extras like your 21-inch rims, interior pack, carbon fiber, all of that, will cost you 660,000 dirhams. I'm going to put the exact price on your screens as well. So I mean, I know that's a lot of money, but trust me, this car justifies every penny of it, every penny, because there's no price to fun. To be honest, if there was a charge every single time you have fun, I think this car will make you bankrupt, and that's for sure. But you should definitely check this car out, and not just that, you should drive this car, because boy, it is a ton of fun. And I know I wasn't an electric fan before, but I think with this car it may have swung me in that direction now. Anyways, that is pretty much it for this video. Give this video a thumbs up, and thank you for watching this video. If you want to subscribe to my channel, then you can click here, and if you want to watch more videos, then click here. I shall see you in the next video. Bye bye, take care, and stay safe.